Hey, what's going on, everybody? Jason Gaddie here, and usually I don't go after like serious YouTubers, and I'm not really going after Joe Rogan, but the video with Joe Rogan and Elon Musk that happened a couple of days ago, there's some things that you and I need to discuss, and let me maybe give you a little bit of a paradigm shift, because there's people that will blindly follow Elon Musk because he is who he is, and you have to understand that there are motives behind not everything that he says, but some of the things that he says. And, you know, the last person that was, you know, super brilliant that I followed was Dr. Michio Kaku. And then he started talking about things not in his expertise. And it was like, oh, okay, well, you're taking the value of your trust, and then, you know, you're using that to spread things that aren't necessarily true to make your wallet a little bit bigger. So first thing I want to talk about is his he was talking about taking oil from the ground, burning it, and putting carbon into the air, and what a terrible idea that was.
We're taking vast amounts of carbon from deep underground and putting this in the atmosphere. This is crazy. We should not do this. It's very dangerous.
And Joe Rogan says, well, it's not like we could put a huge filter up in the sky, you know, and catch all of it. And he's like, no, we can't do that.
Like some sort of a filter, giant building-sized filter, sucks carbon out of the atmosphere? Is that possible?
No, it doesn't. Not possible.
Something you have to understand about carbon dioxide is trees breathe carbon dioxide.
Shit's about to go down. Go down. Shit'll go.
You know, it's very difficult to put that CO2 back in the ground. It doesn't like being in solid form.
You know, when you and I exhale, the trees take that in, take the carbon in, release the O2, the oxygen, back into the air, and so therefore we have oxygen. And there's also bacteria in the ocean, or I forget what it's called, but it's like I believe it's a bacteria that releases oxygen into the air that's in the ocean too. So for him to say that you know, us burning fossil fuels, like they come from the ground, we put them into the air, and that's where they just stay forever and ever and ever, is completely false. The trees, in fact, pull it back out of the air, put it back into the ground. And, you know, if you want to create a big filter, you know, if you're worried about your carbon footprint, you can do like I did and my dad did back when I was a kid. We went to the state of Kentucky, and I think every state does this. I'm not sure, but I know you can get on a registry for state of Kentucky and order trees, and they're just saplings. They're like, you know, 2 foot long, and they don't look much more than a stick. You know what I mean? But if you're worried about your carbon footprint, you can go get trees for, you know, I think we got 700 trees for like 30 bucks. Now that was like 35 years ago, but it's still like a really hell of a good deal. And we planted 200 black walnut and 500 white pine trees. So if that's what you're worried about, but you know, if you're wanting to like completely recycle your carbon that you put into the air, then by all means get fruit trees, or you know, a nut tree of some sort, a chestnut tree. One damn chestnut tree, they get about 40 foot tall, and they get about 40 or 50 foot wide. And, you know, the nuts that come off those, you boil them, and they actually have a meat consistency. So if you're wanting to recycle the carbon, your carbon footprint, do something for the earth that you feel like the earth isn't already doing. Like, you know, you look at mountaintops and you go down to Tennessee, and you'll see how many trees there are. They're absolutely absorbing all of the carbon out of the air. So you know, you have to understand, he's coming from a point of, hey man, I sell electric cars, and I can't tell you that, you know, the trees clean the air from all these cars that burn fossil fuels, so because it devalues my electric car. And Another thing you have to understand about Elon Musk is he gets money from the government to keep his electric car industry going, and so you pretty much have to say, like, when you're getting money from somebody else, you pretty much have to say what they want you to say, or they just quit giving you money. Okay. So the disingenuous things that he was saying, you know, I think I need to shed light on that. And you know, as far as Elon goes, brilliant mind. Joe Rogan said something along the lines of, what if there was 1 million of you? And Elon's like, well, that would be very productive. And then Joe hands him a cigarette with marijuana in it, or a cigar with marijuana in it, his tobacco and marijuana. And Elon says, you know, he takes a puff of it. I saw, but he's like, you know, I really don't do this because it makes me counterproductive. And that's what I want to say to you is, like, he likened, and this is the part where I'm not bashing Elon Musk, but kind of bashing Joe Rogan.
Look, I look like a son with 2 thumbs.
Because I think Joe Rogan could be a hell of a lot more than what Joe Rogan is. Which he's, you know, definitely he's out-earned me. But Elon says that he likens marijuana to, like, the polar opposite of what a cup of coffee is. So basically, instead of making you want to get things done, it makes you want to not get things done. And with that being said, I'd like to say that there are probably 1 million people like Elon Musk. But, you know, Elon has this thing where his head never shuts the fuck up. Like, I've got a head that never shuts the hell up, to the point where it's hard to concentrate on one thing. And everybody says, well, that's adult attention deficit disorder, Jason. Well, maybe, I don't know. Maybe there's just a lot of shit trapped in my head. But I will tell you this, I've got a lot of very, 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 very intelligent friends, and without fail, all of them smoke pot. Like, one of my friends, well, he's not necessarily a friend anymore, because he has smoked himself to the point where nothing really matters except for smoking more shit. And he screwed me real bad on a deal,
dumbass,
that I was doing with a program called Bigger by the Day.
What the fuck? Are you fucking kidding me?
You know, he smoked pot instead of getting my website together.
Yes! I like it.
But dude was super duper brilliant, like taught himself Mandarin Chinese when he was like 9, because, you know, why wouldn't you? And it spoke like 5 or 6 languages other than English, to include like Russian and, you know, shit that's like nothing similar, like, you know, French and Spanish. They're, you know, a little bit similar because they're based off of Latin and whatever. It's not like languages like that, you know, it's shit that's just off the wall shit. But smokes a gang of weed because he can't get his fucking head to shut up. Absolutely the most brilliant mind I know, and you know, does what he does because he can't get his mind to shut up. Another friend of mine, just very, very brilliant, I talk to him almost daily. He can't get his head to shut up, and he's had some issues with PTSD. You know, he was over in Iraq or whatever, and so he has other issues going on. But prior to that, used pot just to calm himself down, get his head to shut up. Absolutely brilliant. One of those guys that just knows a lot about a lot. You know, there's nothing you can't talk to him about that he doesn't know about and can't take care of. But he uses pot to slow his head down. You know, and I got like, for some reason, people that are super duper brilliant, we find each other, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that I'm super duper brilliant, but for some reason, whatever it is, there's people that like to talk to me that are just off the chart intelligent. Another friend of mine, computer programmer, does all kinds of shit, and smokes pot, you know, and man, it helps with just calming his brain down. So to say that there's not millions and millions of people like Elon Musk that are that intelligent, I think that's kind of silly to say that, because I mean, you could go to Denny's at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning and just listen to a group of kids talk to each other and tell that they're very, very intelligent, but they probably do shit to shut their head up and, you know, work at gas stations or fast food or some shit like that, because, you know, why bother? Why add to the fire of my head not being able to shut the hell up by having, you know, real responsibilities somewhere in life? So, so I just thought that was interesting. Another thing, talking about like Elon using his name for things that, you know, you shouldn't just take for face value. Evidently, he was selling flamethrowers, and they were, I guess, from his company called The Boring Company. I'm going to shut that off. People look at me like I'm nuts. The Boring Company. Basically, he was selling roof torches, which roofers use in the wintertime when the roofing shingles get too hard to work with, like they get brittle. They have to heat them up so they're more pliable. So basically what he did was he took a air rifle, like a BB gun rifle, and put on top of a roof torch, and sold those for $500. Now, I don't know how much money a roof torch is, and I don't know how much money it is to buy a plastic BB gun cover and kind of clamp on top of that, but dude maybe had $40 in it, selling it for $500 because, excuse me, of his name. So all I'm saying is you really have to think about what people are saying and like follow the money behind them. Like, he's getting subsidized so much by the government to the tune of being a billionaire. And like, if he was really that concerned about the environment, I'm kind of going back to his cars again, just because something I need to say. Like, if Elon Musk was really that concerned about the environment, then like his cars wouldn't be. I looked one up on eBay, used, like 2 years old or something, and it was still way over. It was like $108,000, $110,000 or something like that. You can't tell everybody that you are concerned about the environment and then take your subsidized company, build a car, and then sell it for over $100,000, and trying to pass off that you are trying to make a difference in the world, make it a brighter place, a greener place. Excuse me, when you're making products that nobody, I'm not going to say nobody, but the vast majority of this country can't afford. Like, if you, the median income of the United States, I believe, or family income is $50,000. No way on hell's green earth are you going to buy a $100,000 car, making $50,000 before taxes. Not in this lifetime. I mean, you would, $100,000 was more than my first house. So it's just kind of crazy. And the last thing that I want to talk about that Elon talked about was the fact that we're all cyborgs. And you know, technically he is correct. We live and die by our cell phones. I'm talking to you right now using one. I'm recording myself with my cell phone. And evidently they're going to come out with something in about 5 months, some breaking new invention to basically, my understanding is to connect you with your cell phone, where, you know, it's a part of you. the issue, like, you could be as smart as your cell phone. The issue is bandwidth. And when I say bandwidth, I don't mean bandwidth like 4G and 5G. I was talking to one of my friends about that, and he's like, well, you know, the radiation of 5G is just, you know, horrific. And planting it in your brain is something you don't really want. And I was like, no, bandwidth meaning how fast you can put information into a phone using your fingers or thumbs or whatever. You know, the phone is exponentially faster than your fingers, so they need to bypass your fingers. So they're working on a way to bypass your fingers. And I don't know if they've even considered the radiation that comes from a cell phone. Like, that is right in your brain, you know what I mean? But once they do that, they say your learning capacity is infinite, and which sounds really, really good. You know, there was a lot of people worried about artificial intelligence taking over, and you know, maybe one day it will, and he kind of talks about that, and he says it's a horrible idea. But my thing is you know, if they hook these cell phones up into your brain, of course it won't look like a cell phone, it'll be whatever, but if they put these machines into your brain, do you still have control of your brain anymore? Like, are you even you anymore? I mean, I know on the outside you are, but you know, he was talking about they could just download your consciousness.
What's the difference? Why can't we simulate a girl? I don't know. I guess I could, but
into that computer, and then when your carbon-based body, you know, they're worried about carbon, like, oh my God, carbon, everything's carbon that lives. But when your carbon-based body dies, they can just
put it in real-life sexual situations and see how it reacts. Like, we're sick, demented shit.
Put you into another body, like a machine body.
She's alive! Alive!
And, you know, you can keep on living on and on and on.
So, what would you little maniacs like to do first?
And, my thing is, are you even going to be yourself anymore? Like, once you don't have any limitations, you know, are feelings going to go to the wayside? I mean, are you still going to be yourself? You know, I've often thought to myself, hey man, you know, what could I do with an extra, you know, 50 IQ points, you know, get my shit up into the, you know, triple digits? And, doing that biologically, that's one thing, but to just program or put a computer in that somebody else has been tinkering with, you're really, really asking for, I think, a lot of trouble. And I don't mean to come off as a conspiracy theorist, but this is something you have to think about. Like, we're limited to the programming of my Samsung cell phone. We are limited to the program of your Apple computer, or whatever. You know, there's certain things that we can and can't do. One thing I would like to be able to do is crank the volume up on my damn cell phone, because when I put my headphones on, it's just not loud enough. And, you know, Samsung's like, oh no, you can't do that. You know, I'm not going to be stuck within their parameters. Like, well, who would need to have a louder cell phone, or, you know, louder headphones? Well, I would love to have louder headphones. And that's just an example, you know, so kind of beware. Like, think about what I'm saying to you. You know, if you have not seen Joe Rogan and Elon Musk talk, you really think about what I'm saying as he's saying that. Remember that there is some stuff that they're trying to push, because I know for a fact Elon Musk is subsidized by the government. Okay, that's not even a secret. Like, that's just not even a secret. You know, and the getting away from fossil fuels and all the other shit, that's been a big EPA thing for years and years and years. So be mindful of that when you watch, you know, what he's saying, and also understand that there's things that he's not saying. When Joe asks questions, it takes him a little bit to respond. And I believe that's because he's thinking two things. A, how am I going to say this where, you know, people of not, you know, a 2 in front of their IQ can understand? A, B, what is too much? Like, what information am I saying too much of? And so understand that it's not all about what Elon is saying. It's about what he's not saying, because he's had some information given to him that you and I aren't going to ever be privy to. And that's just kind of who he is. He's just an anomaly. He's been able to focus, like, you know, I was telling y'all my friends that are super duper brilliant. He's been able to kind of shut up his brain enough to focus on doing certain things, and that's what makes him a superstar. It's not that he's exponentially brighter than the entire planet. It's that he's been able to harness his brilliance, and you know, he uses that for some good, and sometimes he uses it to put money in his pocket. So, all right, y'all have a great day. Make sure you get out to the gym today and get you some. Man, get you some.